to travel.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Igloo today. Today we're going to show a 4-1 trap base, which is mainly consistent of a new strategy that I've been dealing with, is pretty much the knockoff strategy. So they only have one way or two ways to get into your base, and predominantly you want to start off with the production area. Now you could start off with a vault, or you can have like a little micro production facility with a bunch of large chests inside, with it just surrounded with walls so that they cannot use it, or they can use it. You can also put a stair ladder technique in there as well, but the most important thing is to set up a production area. This production area is so that you can be close to everything, get the resources that you need, so you can not only level, but you can also make all of your base. Now once you get to the later on in the game, I would suggest putting a vault in the same room as well. So that's a big advantage to it. Now here's the technique that I have been experimenting with, is so that you can actually clip through, and you can either use furnaces or anything like that, so you can just look through the wall without even opening the door, so you'll make even less noise while you're producing. Now here I have the technique where, just like in my previous video with the foundations where you can put fence foundations in, line that, and then you can make this as compact as you have if you want to have as many walls as you can, so that you can support all of the explosions that are going to be coming your way. Now at the very end I had to put like two walls so that it can be sealed off. But once I get the main gist of it, now this is supposed to be as a checkpoint set up before it gets to your main portion of your base. I always suggest doing a checkpoint before your main loot room or something like that, because at the end of the day, when like all your players are off or you are leaving an area, you want to have a fallback position so they can hit everything else. But here, what I'm setting up right here is something that's going to be completely unique on how to enter and exit your base. So instead of using ceilings, what I use is to top up each wall. And it is crazy on that kind of design, because I didn't think of this until recently, because I was like, why not dance on top of the fence foundations like a little tightrope act and have like little fight pits like what's down there? So if you build it right, you can't put explosives right on the wall, and then you just have the fence overlay to trap them and throw them in the ground. Now here I'm setting up another one with an open hole at the bottom so that people can have access to go back and forth. Now I would recommend putting a door here, but I just wanted to not have a door at the time, so here's another checkpoint. So you can have a fence foundation wall setup that would be right there, and it would be easy access. Another point that would not be able to be enterable by bombs. So now you have two different checkpoints in order to get in, two different traps to knock them down with a hammer or a trident, depending on their armor type. I would still recommend the ancient warhammer because it does the most DPI damage, as well as one of the bigger staggers. So when you are knocking people over back and forth, you can be able to set up the trap so easily to wait for them. It doesn't always need to be used. Now here is another way to stagger your doors, just like I did on my other videos, but you want to make sure so that it can be a narrow passageway for almost all your stuff. So let's say your production room was hit at the bottom and you lost almost all your materials. You still want to have enough so that you can actually place it and get enough materials to start up again with like a furnace, a cauldron, a blacksmith's bench. If you can fit that stuff at a checkpoint, you can be able to do it. Now again, this is supposed to be built into stages, just like everything else. If you're on a vanilla server, this will take forever, but if you are on a 3x or a 5x server, I can completely agree with this kind of building technique. Otherwise, if you're in a vanilla, I would recommend having at least 4 players that are really grindy, so that they can actually get all the levels to build this kind of structure. Now this, what I have designed, is like a shelf ladder climb up, which is like a half a foundation wide, and you can seal it up with either a fence or you can seal it up with a wall. So if you want to make sure that this complete upper section is in disguise, go for it, because you can just drop down, you can go back and forth. There's a lot of ways that you can actually disguise this doorway, because they won't even think that it's like an actual way to get into the base, because it is staggered if you seal it up or anything else like that. So here's another hidden room that you can do. I like this kind of design where it makes it look like it's not like a place, but it actually is a pathway. So that can prevent you from getting raided if you want to have a whole nother section above. It all depends on your building technique and how you want to have the people that are raiding to come through, because you can't prevent every raid, especially if they god you. This is specifically made so that it can be as a trap. Now, if they are raiding you with traditional means, like explosives or trebuchets, or in the future with decay, you'll be able to defend against this kind of stuff. Now, here's the next thing that I have to seal up the top portion of the hole. See, I can't deal with regular ceilings, so I use a fence so that they cannot come above or below. I tried it multiple ways. You can't also shoot arrows through it, so that's a big demeanor. Now, I left that space on the side so that the raiders cannot get in. Now, I did it all the way around because once we get the ceiling on top, that means they can't get in anyways, because they'll try to slip through the fence area, but they would have to either destroy the fence or destroy the ceiling in order to get into the main area of access if they get stuck. Now, I'm designing another one like this is your next future project, and you're designing a fence wall that would go all the way across. And because it's going all the way across, now you have more building technique and another way of entering. Now, I would recommend destroying the ceiling that I put on up there, but at the same time, now you're demanding more real estate. Now you're making your presence known. Now, I would recommend, I would say about one fence foundation high at the bottom, and then the rest would be walls. But you got to remember, once you have that last one and you want to get at that certain point, that you're going to need a foundation on the other side. Now, whether you want it in parallel, linked so that all the doors are connected to it, or you want it in series, depending on your decay on your server, you might want to link everything together so that it can respond to one door. Now, once I get the top portion of this section off, I'm going to also half door this again, put some furnaces in here, so if there's an oh shit moment, I can just transfer loot all the time. But once we continued on up, we're going to make sure that, just like on how it is with most other traps that I've designed, you can hit through the wall with a trident. That's going to be the main point and disadvantage to what is this kind of trap. You can hit from both sides if you really wanted to. Now, if you wanted to build down with shelves on the other side, go for it. Make those shelves. But I would recommend keeping one side cordoned off, and then you shoot them with arrows. So they're going to have to hide on that one side. Now, whether you want to kill them while going in there, or you want to just design it so that it's completely outridden, just make sure you do not fall within the trap yourself, because then you would have to build out. And that would mean that the raider would need to follow your direction if you're killed. Another way to prevent this is a door. I would not recommend a door that would lead into your side pathway loot room, as long as it is as many doors to your section. Now, I was experimenting on how many beds I could put up there, because I want it to be as a small production facility at the very top as well. So once I started sealing it off, I was just like, I can only put 3 beds at this. Now, depending on how you guys design this is how you can actually make it. Now, right here is another fence trap base that would be on the very top. So if the raiders come on the top, you can trap them, whether it's in this little pathway right here, because if you put the fence down and up, that means they can jump through. So you want to put doors on both sides so that it'll trap the raider from using explosives onto that section, as well as trap them from actually entering all of your facility. Just make sure you do the half foundation fence style, because that would be the easiest way for them to get in, and that means they can't put any kind of thing, any kind of explosives, because there's not enough space for the bomb to be placed. So once you get everything sealed off and you want to get your last walls on the very top, you'll be good to go and get the last little bits of the design. Now, what I would recommend is to have doors and airlocks everywhere, because if they can jump above and they can raid you from above and jump glitch, you want to have a sealed ceiling so they cannot get in. This is also where you can put your trebuchet if you want to, depending on your design. Now, for this point, I want to have it as a checkpoint. And you can put a trebuchet at the very bottom where the production facility is. You can put it upstairs. It all depends on you as the builder. Now, if you guys like this video, please like, comment, and share. And have a good one. And thank you guys for 500 subs. It's been fucking amazing. Have a good one now.